So, this is going to be the first video I post on here, probably not much, not very high quality either. Lighting's just bad overall. But this is my M1 helmet collection. I'm going to go ahead and go through each one, pretty simply though. I'll get into later depth on many of them, possibly. I'm not quite sure. But first I'll go ahead and start off with a World War II Schluter shell that I have. Chin strap and everything, OD7 color. Pretty sure it's a repaint. Don't know if it's post-war or not, but who knows. Non-US liner. What kind, I'm not sure. But it's not US. It is fiberglass though. Second, I have a more or less torn down Schluter shell. I've sandblasted it, one of my first mistakes because I was pretty early into helmets when I did it. And I was into the whole refurbishing thing, so I decided I'd have a crack at it. But I've taken the paint out again. The paint in there is not original. I'm trying to remove the rest of it because I did a really shoddy job when I first did it. So I'm going to go ahead and try and give it justice to what it should be. $18 at an antique store, which is pretty good for the shell. Although it has been tampered with. I don't know what by, but it looks like it's been welded or melted or cut. And there's the Schluter S, you can probably see that. Next, I've got one that I also picked up at an antique store. Someone painted it some oddball color, so I was going to take it all the way down. And this is what's left, because underneath this is just metal. But I did find something interesting on it. Can't see it because of the, well, you kind of can. It's named, it was underneath all the paint that they had, and someone was trying to paint it gold. Probably as a parade helmet, but didn't turn out as well because it's so pitted, they probably just gave up on it. It's a front seam swivel bail. I don't know what the heat stamp is because I can't see it because of the rust, but I'm working on de-rusting that one as much as I can as well. This is a liner that came in it. It is a Seaman Paper Company World War II liner with a eyelet in the front. The webbing is mostly intact, except for a rip here and there, but it was in good shape. Well, for what it is. It's also named, but you can't make it out. It's too faded. Next, I have one that I'm working on putting reproduction chin straps on for mostly a decoration piece. I got this off eBay, so I'm not quite sure if it's an original paint job. Probably not, because there's multiple layers under it. No cork texture. I was thinking it might be a Vietnam repaint because it did have Vietnam era chin straps on it when I got it. It's a fixed bail front seam. Now the problem with these fixed bails when I bought it, they were busted off on the front, so what I tried doing was MIG welding them back on. But first I tried to heat them up with a blowtorch so I could knock them back into place, but I didn't much think about the paint on the other side, which kind of caught fire and started bubbling. You can see that right there, result of that. So what I've tried to do is the best I can with replacing the paint on both sides with a mix of olive drab that looks somewhat similar to the top layer, mostly model paint. So it's probably a temporary thing, but it's in good shape overall. There's not much rust that I can see. There might be some under the paint, but who knows. The other chin straps on both helmets, by the way, are reproduction from at the front. And I'm trying to put these chin straps on it eventually, once I get the right kind of, well, once I can sew. Now the liner is a nice piece I picked up, which I also did something stupid too. It's a Firestone liner from World War II. It's in really great shape. This is exactly how I got it for free from a buddy who, he got it from his local VFW, or it was the historical center back where I used to live, because he volunteers there, and they have a bunch of stuff in the basement at both places, and he'd get it all for free, and eventually it'd make its way down in my hands. But on the outside of it, it is a VFW parade liner, all white with stickers on both sides. The eyelet has been removed, but the hole is still there. It's not been filled up. I decided that it would be a smart idea to paint it olive drab over all of it, and it didn't even turn out that good. So I'm going to try and take some goof off and remove as much of that as I can, at least around the top. I want the bottom to look olive drab at least, so when you look at it from the helmet, it looks like a combat liner, I suppose is what you'd call it. This is a recent pickup here, probably Vietnam, I don't know, can't see the heat stamp. It's missing one bail, its rear seam swivel, but the one bail is missing, and there's too much paint to see a heat stamp. $20 at a antique store though, so in my opinion it was good. And this is a mixed batch helmet that I put together myself. It's all Vietnam era, probably later 70s, 75 somewhat, except for the cover and the chin straps, which I got off of another helmet to put it on. It even has the ball on the chin, the hook, the ball hook. And for some reason someone put, I think it's probably Sharpie, black Sharpie on this cover. And the helmet band around it is an inner tube from an old Schwinn that we had that I decided to cut to make it more like a Marine Vietnam era helmet. The liner is 1950s with a 50s or probably 80s liner. It's in good shape. The sweatband is a mixed part too. I got that out of another one. Probably 80s. It's also named. Next one I believe is a complete piece. I just have cards and a band on it for decoration mostly. Now, it's all Nam, Vietnam, and it's also named on the back. To a general, a 4-star General Calandria. I did some research, can't find him. There's also a name here on the chin strap on the back. It's a Sergeant Raven, I believe. And now, the liner is in okay shape, the webbing at least. The leather for the sweatband is pretty far gone. It has a front eyelet as well, and it's not the second pattern of Vietnam liner, so I believe it's early. Now, the liner itself still has an eyelet in the front, and it has the guy's name more prominently seen there. No idea how original this is, but it was cool nonetheless. $65 for the whole helmet, I thought was a good price. Then you've got brushstroke painted on Odie green on the liner with what seems to be cork. Now, I don't know how original this is, but still interesting, considering it's got the front eyelet, same with that of World War II liners. And the inside of the helmet itself as well has the name, we can't see it there, but on both sides, that's on there as well. If you can see that black Sharpie just above the white letters, it says Spicer, and it says it on both sides of the helmet. Now overall this one's in good shape, but there's some rust to it, but that's fine. Now the last one I have, other than a one reproduction M1 that I own, is another mixed batch M1 that I have. I have this one set up to be 1980s. It's got a second pattern Vietnam airliner, so what they would have in the 80s. It's got some writing here on it, in there, and I believe in pencil, you're not going to be able to see it, but on the leather, the sweatband, it has a soldier's name and what seems to be a social security number, something along those lines. And then I have no idea what kind of liner it is though, because it has very odd stamps, especially one in the middle. But that is all of my M1s. I still have a couple more helmets from different time periods that I'm going to make videos for, but these are just the M1s, excluding that reproduction one up there. I have no idea. We'll see how the quality turns out on this one, but anyway, whoever watches, thank you. That's about it.